There's no doubt that breastfeeding takes a lot of time and energy. Most babies breastfeed 8 to 12 times per day. And let's be honest, postpartum is hard, especially if you're breastfeeding your baby all night. Like, it's crazy. So this paper is going to take a look at two really important elements of postpartum, which is breastfeeding and mood. And breastfeeding and mood really affect children throughout their life. Their physical health is linked to breastfeeding, and their mental health is linked to breastfeeding and the mother's mood. So yeah, let's dive right into it. So breastfeeding and depression are linked. Those with higher rates of breastfeeding experience lower rates of postpartum depression, and social support predicts breastfeeding duration and lower postpartum depression. Collectivistic cultures encourage social support, as does connectedness. And this paper is really going to focus on social support. So let's take a look at some of the cultures and cultural practices that are associated with postpartum care. We're going to take a look at religion and at the influence of that on postpartum care. And then we're also going to take a look at social media and the influence of social media and postpartum care. So not only social support, but also emotional support impacts breastfeeding and mood. That's a really important note. There has been several studies done, and it's not only that, oh, I'm helping with the baby, it's also that I understand you element that really is related to both breastfeeding and mood. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the cultural practices that are associated with breastfeeding and just postpartum care in general. Chinese culture is a collectivistic culture, meaning that instead of seeing the individual as every man for himself, it's, oh, I'm part of this bigger picture. And collectivistics, they get their sense of well-being from feeling a sense of harmony with the people around them in their in-group and also in their out-group as well. Okay, so Chinese cultural practices relating to postpartum is called doing the month. That's what it translates to in English. Basically, the woman is confined for a month in her home with her baby, and she does not have to do anything, okay? Mom or mother-in-law is taking care of the baby, the cooking, the cleaning, and everything else. So she has a lot of social support. And not only does she have that physical social support, but she also has the emotional social support. And this really can show you how emotional support is so much more important than physical support. So there's been a couple studies done that when doing the month, when the mother-in-law is in the home, rates of postpartum depression are higher. When the mother is in the home, rates of postpartum depression are lower. So that's telling you right now that it's not just, oh, she's doing the cooking, the cleaning, the baby, da-da-da-da-da. It's really that she has a solid relationship with that person, and maybe she doesn't have a solid relationship with the mother-in-law. So there's definitely something to be said for multi-generational households and their importance in postpartum. There's also been a recent wave of women who are not able to identify a woman to do the month with because of the rise of individualism. So Muslim culture, really high rates of breastfeeding. It says right in the Quran, hope I'm saying that right, to breastfeed your baby for 2 years, and the dad should be financially responsible during that time. Okay? So there's a lot of things to be said. For the Muslim cultural aspect, of course, it is in the Quran. But again, this is where like that sense of collectivism is coming in, right? Because there's this group that all believes like the same thing. They all have a shared reality. And so I'm drawing the conclusion that connectedness is a really big part of this as well. Both connectedness to the religious group and also the religious group coming together in a collectivistic way and supporting the mother, because this is like a foundation of their beliefs. So they have really high rates of breastfeeding. Now, another thing I want to talk about is Facebook support. In this world, it's changing so much, and economics and education, as we learned in our text, are really impacting cultures, and there is a shift from collectivism to individualism within a lot of cultures. And some people, they have trouble finding their group. So Facebook support and social media support can actually help encourage breastfeeding and even reduce postpartum depression. In a Facebook support group of just 8 women, it was a small study, but like it really helped them with breastfeeding just to not feel so alone. And I think that shared reality, as we learned in our text, is a really important aspect of connectedness, and sometimes we might not be able to identify people around us with the same values and beliefs as us. There's countless examples of women trying to breastfeed and no one around them is breastfeeding, so they have a lower rate of breastfeeding because no one is supporting them during it. So if you want to breastfeed, like, you have no support, no one telling you it's right, no one telling you it's okay, and then you find these people on the internet that are telling you, you can do it, how is that going to make you feel? It's going to make you want to breastfeed, right? Because you believe in yourself. And self-efficacy is actually a really important factor when it comes to breastfeeding, and that's what this Facebook support group found. Okay, so moving on, across cultures, this is really valid. Social support is super important. There was one study done in many different countries all around the world found that social support always decreases postpartum depression, no matter the circumstances, okay? So, all right, in conclusion, breastfeeding and mood, they do affect children. These things do affect children later in life. So with breastfeeding and postpartum depression. So postpartum depression and breastfeeding really does impact children later in life. Rates of increased breastfeeding can ward off diseases such as leukemia, and even childhood asthma can also help children have a more secure attachment style and less internalizing and externalizing behaviors. Also, postpartum depression can really impact mother-infant bonding, and that can result in problems as well for the infant. So as you see, postpartum care is super important and really truly does shape a generation. So if you know any mamas out there, I hope you check in on them, and I hope if you're a father, you also really take care of your mamas, because we're really shaping the next generation of children. Thank you so much for watching this little video, and I hope you guys learned a lot. Aloha.